You can convince anyone to do anything if you're a good copywriter.
I don't know anybody more highly respected than you for their ability to write words that will make strangers buy things.
AI will become a very, very good copywriter. One of the most difficult things to train AI on is taste.
We've just entered Alex Cooper Copywriting Masterclass. Your first rule you just gave me, show, don't tell.
Yeah.
What are the other Alex rules for copywriting and creative?
Assume no one knows or cares. Is this still relevant and valuable to them?
Next rule.
Your customers are your copywriters. If you research properly, your customers will literally tell you what to say.
Talk to me about this ad. Why does this work?
That visual up the top there, there's no way that someone doesn't stop.
You have fungus on your face.
That was the moneymaker.
I appreciate you doing this. I'm pumped to have you on this thing. I think there's a ton that we're going to be able to talk about AI and advertising. I think you're a master copywriter. You've had to persevere a lot, I think, in your early entrepreneurial days. And now you're kind of almost building like this portfolio of stuff. So I think there's a lot we'll be able to chat about the audience. But a little tradition I always have to kick off. First question. It's always the same. And it's how much money did you make last month? What was your revenue?
Revenue in December was in USD 385K.
Baller, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, dude, there's a lot we're going to be able to cover. I really love your story, dude. So you like drop out of college, I think is something to my understanding.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I should have put that down there. Oh, yeah. My philosophy in school, I was predicted really bad grades. My philosophy in school, sorry, I don't have to go too deep into this, was that like, I'll just outwork everyone. So I did that. I got into like the best college in London. And then I decided to drop out the day before because I just had a feeling that I didn't want to go. And then I was doing door-to-door sales. I become the top salesman like when I was 18 years old. And then I eventually go into corporate. And then like that's when the story started.
So not only did you drop out of college, you dropped out of like the best college, like the day before. Interesting. Okay. And then you basically eat shit for years. And right. I love that because I think for a lot of people, like you don't get the story without the struggle. And I've had some people on this podcast where like they try something, it all works, immediately, and that's awesome. But if I'm listening, I'm kind of like, all right, man, like fucking like give me a little something, because it's hard a lot of times. So I think that's good. And now you're kind of like the AI and ads guy. I mean, I don't know anybody who is more highly respected than you for their ability to use ChatGPT and Claude to write words that will make strangers buy things on the internet. You've had tens of millions of dollars spent against your creative. You run an awesome marketing agency called AdCrate. You're about to launch a SaaS by the time this goes out called Parr. Maybe we start here. What is AdCrate in like 2 or 3 sentences?
We make ads for 7, 8, and 9-figure brands. And I just think like what you described there, like copywriting and the creation of ads in general, like being able to create like a 45-second video or even like an image ad that can take someone from never having heard of your brand before to getting their credit card out of their pocket and buying. Like, I mean, I'm a bit of an ads nerd, as you know, but like I just find that process beautiful. I think that is like an art form to construct, to put the words in the right order such that you can take someone through that journey in like 45 seconds. I fell in love with it when I kind of stumbled across ad creative way before YouTube was a thing, way before anyone got excited about ad creative. And I just, ever since it's just been like that's what has consumed my life.
I love it, dude. I think kind of like you, for me, copywriting has changed my life in a lot of ways. A lot of, I think I first heard about from a guy we both know, Sam Parr. And so I want to, at some point, we're going to have you do a little copywriting like masterclass, maybe like halfway through this. But I want to start with the struggle part because it wasn't working for a long time. And so take me back to March of 2019. You have just quit your corporate job. You have 3 months of cash in the bank, and a big chunk of that money you've just handed to a guy named Jordan Platten to go to his event. I want to know, what the fuck were you thinking?
Dude, you did your research.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's not amateur hour here, man. I know.
Man, there was so many things before that I got my credit card out for that I had no business doing at 18, 19 years old. Yeah, I took a massive risk. I left my job. I had a really, really bad breakup at the time. And yeah, I really just was just going all out trying to make something work. And I wasn't in the right mind frame, to be honest. But yeah, I take a risk, quit my job. And this is after, dropping out of college. I got into one of the best colleges in London, and then just decided like, no.
What was the college?
It was called UCL.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that.
Like College London, and I was doing actuarial science, so like statistics and maths. So my family's like super big into.
Dude, all right. So I was going to go to college to become an actuary because some guy in my high school math class looked up the whatever Forbes or USA Today like top paying jobs, and I saw that. And then that's crazy. I applied so I went to this school in America called Wharton, which is like a really fancy business school. But I applied thinking I wanted to do actuarial science, and I applied to like the Penn is the broader college. I applied to the wrong college. The actuarial program's like in the College of Arts and Sciences, and so it was totally an accident. And I ended up doing business. That's wild. I mean, I was going to be an actuary. That's wild.
I did the exact same thing. I looked up like high-paying jobs that I could get into, and I was always like a numbers nerd. So like I was like, I'll do actuarial science, and just dropped out the day before because I just didn't feel like I wanted to do it. But I had no plan. Went into door-to-door sales. That I made a little bit of money from. Ended up becoming like the top salesman in my area. But then I ended up in corporate, quit that job, and then this is where we landed with like I paid Jordan Platten for mentorship, who's like a agency guy in the UK. He's like a bit like, this is around the same time that Iman Gadji was coming up as well. And he was like a smaller version of Iman. He still does good stuff today. But yeah, I mean, I tried every single business model under the sun, even after the mentorship with Jordan. Like I tried a bunch of things, nothing worked. Like years I had to eat crap for, which was like partially being a newbie, partially because I had grass is greener syndrome. I did drop shipping, I did FBA, I did affiliate, I did e-com, I tried local business agency, like literally everything you can think of. I would try it, and then like 3 or 4 months later, I go, oh, this other thing, like I see people making money in it, so I'm going to go to this because this has got me the ticket out of the 9 to 5. Because like I would work 9 to 5, then I would come back from 6 till 2 a.m. in the morning, just every single day, zero revenue for 4 years, which in hindsight is like, crazy. And I did that until something worked. And then eventually, like 4.5 years in, I signed a client, an e-com brand, to run their ads for them. I think that was my first like real online money. And from there, I kind of like took on a few more e-com clients, and then found myself.
First client, 4.5 years in?
Yeah. I'm ashamed to say, but yeah.
Dude, what made you stick with it? And what was it, Jordan? I mean, there's a philosophy I like a lot that's like, pick your preacher, which is like find somebody who really energizes you and makes you believe it's possible. I think for me, that was a lot of like Sam Parr, Sean Puri. Other people said, Iman Gadzhi is a popular one, Alex Hormozi. Was Jordan that for you? Like what were you telling yourself or hearing from other people that makes you stick it out for 4.5 years? Because most people would say that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, Jordan was helpful in the first year, but like even then I had to go on my own journey for a long time before anything worked out. And like I was consuming a lot of Iman, a lot of Hormozi, at the time a lot of Gary Vee, who was just like volume. So like I definitely had the people that I listened to, but like, I just knew it was inevitable at some point. I may have to do this for 10 years and not see any results, but like at some point, I'm a numbers guy by law of averages, something will happen for me. So it was soul destroying, honestly, like, especially seeing people younger than you do it in shorter time. Like meanwhile, you're working your corporate job and then going home and trying to do this thing that's just not paying off. All your other friends at 22, 23 years old are traveling the world, going to college, doing all the stuff that a 22-year-old's supposed to do. And you're just like staying in every day, working 6 hours after an 8-hour shift, trying to make something work and nothing's happening. And like at times it's demoralizing. At times you think it's never going to happen for you. But like, yeah, just keep pushing through. And then eventually something did happen.
How did you get the client? What were you doing?
But it was cold email.
Nice. That's awesome. So you set up, I don't know what the tools were back then, but there's like, now it's like Apollo and ListKit. You get a list or store leads. You get a big, these are all websites. You get a bunch of lead lists. You set up like Instantly or Smart Lead. You do some automated emails and then you get them. Is that basically what it was?
Oh yeah, there was a different tool set. I honestly couldn't even tell you. I mean, we used to use Lemlist. I remember Lemlist. I don't know if that's still around.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The big Lemlist user, and
you're OG. You're a veteran. All the kids are on Smart Lead now.
They don't know Lemlist. Lemlist was the OG. I can't remember where I used to buy leads from, but it was somewhere I bought a list of like 20,000 e-com leads, and I just go and hit them again and again and again, sending out like 1,000 a week, which at the time was a lot. Like it was a lot of emails to send out in like 2020, 2021. I've seen people nowadays sending like 5,000 to 10,000 a week, which is insane. But no, at the time, 1,000 a week was a lot to send, and I'd get maybe a handful of calls every other week that I take, and it was tough. I mean, like it is tough to convince someone to buy when you don't have any case studies and you're like a 21-year-old kid trying to charge them $3.5 grand a month. But yeah, again, enough volume. And then there was light at the end of the tunnel, fortunately.
So one thing I have observed is like a lot of people, the way they get their first client is through kind of ragtag stuff like this. And people probably hear like 1,000 or 10,000 emails and they think it's like you manually doing that. There's like tools and stuff that can help you that make it a lot faster. Like my first client, I did Loom lead magnets. I was like, I'd message people on LinkedIn. I'd be like, hey, I took a look at your ad account. I have 2 or 3 concepts that I think would like really help you scale. I made a Loom video for you. Could I send it to you? And maybe 5% of them go, yes, right? There's no video, once they say yes. Cool. All right, awesome. Now Nathan should go. Hopefully they're running ads, make the Loom video and like make it happen. But I love the scrappy stuff like that. My understanding as well is that in the very beginning, you want to get the first client no matter what. Like you should be willing to like do the damn thing for free if you need to. Like get the case study. Like if you can get somebody on the phone, do what you can to close them. What was your first offer? What I've heard is that I think you were charging super low. It was like hundreds of dollars a month, or you were doing setup offers or things that were more bite size. Is that the way it was working? Or
yeah, I had the same philosophy. Just do whatever you can to get the first client in the door. I'm not particularly proud to admit it. I took on a website build as my true first one-time deal. So like my first actual deal was ongoing ads, but before that I took on a website build. I literally, I think it was $2,000 that I took on for it, and I worked out how to kind of build something in Shopify with a bunch of apps. This was a long time ago now, so before any of the current tools existed. But yeah, I took that on, and like that for me, I just remember it being like, wow, $2,000 I've been paid for this. This is insane. And I figured out how to do it in a weekend. So yeah, it certainly was scrappy, and like in the same way that you mentioned, like not recording the Loom videos until people responded to. It's like, yeah, same thing. Like I'd never built a website before. Just gotta figure it out.
That's awesome. So you pitch them ads and they're like, oh, we need more of a website. And you're like, oh yeah, I forget.
It's totally, we also do that. Yeah.
I love it. So I think the episode that you're listening to right now could make you $1 million. And I believe that. The reason I believe that is because your content diet, the YouTube videos you watch, the podcasts you listen to, is the highest leverage thing that you can do for yourself. I became a millionaire in my early 20s. And frankly, it had very little to do with me. It had everything to do with the fact that you and I live in a crazy lucky time where founders like this hop in these podcasts and they share everything that they know for free. And so that's what I do. I talk to founders who do millions of dollars, and I talk to them about their financials, their funnels, and their feelings, the mindset that got them to where they are. And so if you're building something or you're thinking about building something, I want you to do something for yourself. Forget me, which is I want you to hit the subscribe button on this podcast. I'm going to write down the ideas you're hearing, and I want you to get to work. Back to the pod. You saw 2 things really early that I thought were really cool. One was just the idea of UGC, user-generated content. That, rather than these corporate schmorporate fucking ads. Like, why don't we just, the real people buy the products? Like, if we just emphasize the real folks or actors who are embodying the real folks, like, oh, maybe that would do a better job at convincing somebody that they, and also real folk, would want to buy the thing. And then the other thing is your point on like creative first, like you were right at the beginning of a larger change that happened on Facebook. So for people who don't know, like, you know, the number one way that e-commerce companies grow is Facebook. Facebook makes billions and billions of dollars from like all the brands you love, like spending money on Facebook to get in front of you. So you click the buy button. And it used to be like you needed to know Facebook. You had to do all this demographic and interspace chart. You had to know how to press the buttons, right? You had to be the crane controller, you know, at the construction site, or the stick shift driver. And now it's like Facebook is a lot more like a Tesla. It's self-driving. And the way I best describe it is like the same stuff that's powering Instagram Reels. We're like, hey, if I watch 5 videos of a golden retriever puppy, you know, which I do often, I get all these videos of puppies after, because it's seeing there's puppies and the AI is recognizing that and it's giving me similar stuff. That's now how all the ad stuff works. You put in the creative, it understands who's liking that, and it shows it to more people like that, just like you'd see on like TikTok or Instagram. You were first, really, really early to understanding that's how the world was going to go.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. I love that analogy.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. There weren't a lot of people offering creative only at the time, and we just saw that was something that was more in demand, and honestly, it played into our favor greatly because like we had a lot of client applications over that following year, more than if I'd done email marketing or full service growth, and just picking one thing and saying we're not going to do everything and we're going to leave money on the table. We might be less sticky, but we're going to be the best at this one thing. Really helped me stand out from people who had way more case studies and social proof than me, because I didn't have a lot, but I could say to them, hey, you're paying a growth marketing agency like this much and they're doing creative. I am not going to do the whole thing for you, but I'm going to be the best at creative and make better creative than they're going to make for you.
Yeah. And so what you would you sign clients and then they're working with the growth agency and you at the same time?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, sometimes they'd have multiple agencies inside the account and we'd just be coming in as like the specialist creative agency, which still happens today. But yeah, just niching down and saying, we're going to be the best at this one thing. We're okay with leaving money on the table because we accept that like we don't have all the social proof right now, but our in is going to be the fact that we're so niche and so specific. And that really helped us in year one.
I like it. So 3 things. It's like, if you specialize, right? A, you become very good at that thing. Also, you can almost splinter the offer, right? The offer of like, we do growth for you, into just creative. So you can be more cost effective so that people are more interested in working with you. And I think the third thing maybe that is interesting, and you tell me if this is true or not, you're saying you're working with, there's multiple agencies in this account. Well, like if you're an agency and you're full service, so you're doing the creative and the funnel and you're doing the media buy, all this stuff. Well, to get a client, you're going to have to convince them, I want you to fire your agents who does all that and then put me in. Whereas you can go, oh, no. Keep those agencies are awesome. Keep them. We'll just slot in right here. You can do both. And so it's easier to close the client. Is that fair?
Yeah. And I also add on top of that, the positioning that it allows you to have when you're doing content. In the same way that we could stand out to a client on a sales call because of our specialization, it's really difficult unless you really know your stuff to stand out on like Twitter or LinkedIn nowadays, because everyone's making such good content. And it's like, if you don't have any case studies, you're not doing anything interesting, why would someone listen to you? If you're full service and you've got 50 things you talk about, why would someone listen to you versus like the 100,000 other people who are speaking about the same topic? There was very few people talking about creative and creative only. So that was almost my into content, which has been, the best thing that I've done for my business in the last 3 years. Because people had a reason to listen to me or follow me versus other people who are more intelligent than me and can speak on broader topics. But like I could speak on this one topic better than anyone else could.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, you've never like run paid ads to get clients. Like your funnel is like, you do interesting and useful things. You share those things openly, right? Give away the secrets, sell the execution on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. And then people go, dude, this is amazing. I don't want to do it. We want AdCrate to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't do any outbound. We don't do any paid. In fact, ironically, that first client that I signed from cold email was the only client I've ever signed from a cold email. Since then, it's all been inbound. And right now we're about 60% inbound and about 40% referrals in terms of our deal flow. And I've kept my team has kept telling me we should start thinking about going into outbound. We should start thinking about going to paid to diversify. But every time we just keep filling up demand with inbound and the subsequent referrals that come from it as well. And we haven't had a need to go into either of those things. So we may do eventually if we continue to grow. But I mean, just having specialization in something that you master is just obviously an advantage when it comes to selling, but also just to getting your name out there and to getting people to notice you and want to follow you if you have one specific thing that you talk about, whether it be creative, whether it be, I don't know, maybe the next wave is ChatGPT ads or AI, GEO, whatever that thing is. If I see someone who's talking about this new up and coming thing that was timed well, and again, for me, for creative, it was timed well, someone might not have the same impact if they start talking about creative today that I did 3 years ago. But if I see someone talking about a well-timed topic and has more information than anyone else, even if it's just such a niche specialized topic, I'm going to follow them. I'm going to listen to them. If I need that service, I'm going to buy from them.
Yeah, I like it. And so so if I think about your funnel then, so referral and organic, a couple good points. Number one, it's hey, you don't need to do 50 channels. I actually did. I was on, next time you're in New York, we'll grab drinks with me. He's a cool guy. My buddy, Will, he's working for a startup and he's leaning up their marketing stuff. And, the CEO wants to they do a lot of cold email and ABM style, LinkedIn outreach. And she's hey, we need to be figuring out SEO and paid search and Facebook and events. And I was listening to this, My First Million the other day, Sean Parr, and he was talking about this awesome lesson he got from this ecom guy who does $100 million a year when Sean was doing, maybe $100,000 a month. And Sean is only doing Facebook ads. And he's well, Facebook ads is working. We need to do influencer marketing now on this other thing. And the guy goes, no. Get to $1 million a month just doing Facebook ads. It's already, just do it 12 out of 10. Do it as best as possible. And then maybe consider the other channels. Now Sean's company does I think run rate 30 million a year, something like that, something in the 8 figures. They never did influencer. They still just do Facebook ads. And so I think people dramatically misunderstand. It's much better to be really, really good at one or two things. Don't spread yourself thin. And that's largely what you guys have done.
There's such a lesson there. I see it with clients all the time. I see it in my own content. We had a client a year ago who got to about 100K a month spend on Facebook, and then they started to see struggling performance, and they go, right, now why don't we go into YouTube ads? I'm YouTube ads, dude, we barely cracked Facebook. You can get to I've got brands spending 8 figures a year on Meta and Meta only. So it's just grass is greener syndrome. And I'm the same thing with my content. I had those same urges early, but I just from people telling me don't do it. I for the first 2 years it was Twitter and Twitter only, and now we put out on Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and newsletter because I have a content manager and I have a copywriter. But when it was just me, for the first 2 years, it's just hammer one platform and accept that you may not hit people on other platforms, but when you're competing, if you think about the example of content on Twitter, I'm competing with people who Twitter's their only platform. And on YouTube, you compete with people, YouTube's their only platform. And the same goes whether you're a business, whether you're an agency, whether you're an e-com brand, whatever platform, whatever those other variables are, you're going to be competing with people who that's their only channel or that's their only thing. And it's really difficult to compete with people who that's their only thing on 3 or 4 different playing fields. To compete with people who are just on Twitter and then also do LinkedIn and also do the same for YouTube and newsletters. So there is such a lesson in there. Just be really, really good at one thing. And then once you've got people behind you, you can think about scaling to other channels. But even then, we still just repurpose for the most part on other platforms, and Twitter's still the bread and butter.
Interesting. Okay, so Twitter's bread and butter. So if we look at like, you said 60-40 inbound versus referral. So inbound is right, your Twitter content. So I want to talk about that. And then after that, the referral is like, hey, you do really good work. You're a master of copy and creative. So we should spend some time over there too. Let's go to the 60%. Twitter, when you first start, help me understand, like, what is the strategy behind Twitter? If I looked at your content, and maybe it's changed over time, maybe you'd have a different choice now versus before, but as a pie, your content strategy, what are the big slices of that pie? What is going to work to get you followers and or business?
Yeah. I mean, I try and take the perspective of like, I mean, it's obviously easier to do now, but just tweet what's happening in the business. Like anything that is happening, if I mean, at the start, I was making a lot of the ads myself. If I'm making the ads and I try an AI tool, I just go and tweet about it. Because like ultimately, and I saw a good thread about this the other day, like the feed is moving away from, for lack of a better term, value-based posts and towards insight-based posts. Because like back in the day, it was like you could just tweet like, here are 10 hooks that that you can use in your ads. Like, sure, people will care about that. That will bring people value. But like very soon, AI is going to be doing all of that. AI is going to be teaching us how to do all these things. So it's going to shift towards what's actually happening to you. Like what's a claim that you can make that no one else can make, like that AI can't make. For example, I ran this test inside my ad account and here's what happened, here's what I learned, and like here's how you can do the same. No one can dispute that. And like I don't feel like I'm putting on anything or like that's hard content to make because I'm literally reporting what is happening in my day-to-day. So I'll try AI tools and I'll make a tweet about it. Or I'll literally write a prompt to make an ad. And if I like the prompt, I'll just go and put it into a tweet. Because like no one can say like, hey, this is AI stuff, but this is something that like, you're just doing for engagement. It's literally like what is happening to me. So I really do try and just report on what is on what is happening during my work day. And like, we have people on the content team who go and find like viral tweets or things that have done well on LinkedIn or YouTube, etc. But like for the most part, I just literally tweet about what's happening, and you won't have as many things happen to you if you're like just starting out. But it's like then okay, you could say if you don't have any clients, pick a brand that's well known in the space. Groon's just recently raised X amount. Here's what I would do if I was like redesign their landing page. If you're a landing page designer. Like, again, no one can dispute that because that's just your take, is your insight rather than like trying to educate people when in many cases, like you don't have any data to back that off of. So yeah, I mean, I wish I had a better like answer to give you in the sense of like, here are my content pillars or here's how I do it. I genuinely like whenever I think of something, I put it into my Notion document and then every week I'll just sit down and think about how to develop those things. But it's just based on what is actually happening in my life.
Yeah, I like it. It is tough to ask this to people sometimes because you're kind of like it's like a fish in water. Like fish doesn't know that it's in water. Like it's so used to doing that thing. It's actually hard for it to like articulate. I'm in water if the fish could talk. So some interesting things you said. You do a good job of this. It's basically like do interesting things and then talk about those things. And so I remember. You and I are in this, or I think you're in it. Yeah, this like Slack group chat, or maybe Ali is, with a bunch of our like bootstrap buddies. And when the nano banana like prompting ChatGPT static image generation stuff came out, I remember we were all like messaging about the image gen and all this stuff and asking about it at like noon, like the day after it came out. And you're fast, dude. 8:17 a.m. So 4 hours before we were even in the chat, you do this post on Twitter. We'll put it up in the actual pod edit. And you're showing ads that you've already made that are beautiful ads for Opapop, for Flakes. And that thing gets 2.9 million views. I remember messaging about it because I think you had like a newsletter call to action. I was like, how many subscribers did it add? It added like 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers. Like you're quick. Yeah. You see something and then you act.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point as well. Like, you could say whatever you want, like about value versus insight, but so much of social media is timing. It's just talking about the right thing at the right time. And it's funny, I was talking to my copywriter about this the other day because we were strategizing for YouTube. And like, I really do try and make my YouTube videos like the best possible quality they can be. Like, I really put a lot of effort into making every video something that someone would genuinely like get value from watching. But I look at my performance on YouTube, and like literally my top performing YouTube video by far, my outlier video, is this video that I recorded on AdCrate, like the day after AdCrate launched. And it was literally a 7-minute video. None of it was scripted. It was all unscripted, sorry. And I shot it in about 9 minutes because I had to go to the airport straight after it. Like, I just completely riffed it, no plan. That's beat all of my longer form videos, all of my videos that I put hours and hours into. Why? Because I covered it at the right time, like the perfect time. I was the first influencer to cover ARC ads, and like people were sharing my video was getting shared on pages that were having like hundreds of thousands and one with 7-figure followers. So like so much of social media is just talking about things at the right time and giving your actual insight. Like something happens, and I know like I'm super busy and I try and like structure my week, but if something happens, like a Nano Banana comes out or a Claude cohort comes out, I make it a thing like, hey, what can we get out about this? Even if it's just giving an opinion, I don't know, like I've tried this and here's what's worked and here's what's not worked. Talking about it at the right time goes so far, because if things move so quickly on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, people only care about what's trending now and what's topical now. So yeah, you can have the best insights in the world. If you're talking about topics that people don't care about right now, then like no one's going to read it.
Yeah, I like it. You want to be first or you want to be best. And some of your stuff is best, right? It's doing interesting things and then talk about them. And a lot of times it's your stuff that is first. Dude, I remember this ARC ads video. We have this interesting relationship where you and I have gotten to know each other better now, but you totally were like my AI agency, like in a pocket. Like I remember our SOPs for ARC ads are like, I watched your video and I was like, oh, he's putting the speed at this of the ARC ads, like, it makes an AI UGC person. And so you're going through the settings and like, oh, he's doing the voice intonation of this. And this is, he puts all the hooks in one thing. And I put that in Notion page. I'm like, team, I've got an SOP for ARC ads. It's great. You killed it with that stuff, dude. You killed it with that stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's just all timing. And like, you make that video literally 1 week later and it probably does 20% of the views. So yeah, it's just covering things and giving your actual opinion, unscripted, at the right time when things come out.
I like it. So, okay then. So if the move is your content needs to come from your work, right? It's like do really valuable things. Let's talk about that. So you're very good at copywriting. I have a couple, I'm going to pull these up, and you maybe have some rules that are outside of this, but I wanted to kind of have you teach me about creative on this for a second. Maybe first, let's say it's somebody who's like, help somebody who watches this understand, like, why care about paid ads? And maybe more importantly, because I think it's more applicable, like, why give a shit about copywriting? It's this nebulous, like, you're writing words, like, I don't know, man. Like, why should somebody care about that?
Because you can convince anyone to do anything if you're a good copywriter. And I actually think a more pertinent question is why learn about copywriting today in a world where AI is getting better and better at copywriting? And my stance on that is with everything that happens in technology, I try and think about like what things do I believe to be true and that I think will remain true in 5 years time and 10 years time and 20 years time. And like, those are the kind of things that I want to invest my time and resource into. And do I think that, direct response principles and copywriting will be around in 5-10 years time? Absolutely, I do, because they've been the same principles that have been applied to, newspaper ads and radio ads and like TV ads and now Facebook ads. People think that like Facebook ads, it's a new playbook that's been spun up recently. They're just doing the same playbook that people have ran for decades and decades, and they will continue to run for decades and decades, whether the next version of it is ChatGPT ads or like whatever it is. The same direct response principles will be applied. So I think it's a very defensible thing to learn. But like on the why is it still relevant today? The thing with AI is that I think that AI is already getting and will become a very, very good copywriter. But as it pertains at least to ad creative and a lot of other things, to be fair, you're still going to have the human QCing the work that the AI is doing. And like one of the most difficult things to train AI on is taste. Like the reason that someone would pay you, Nathan, or pay me, or pay someone who's been doing this a very long time to make ads or to write copy, whatever it is because whether you're using AI or not, you can look at a list of 10 headlines and you can go, you know what, number 2, number 5, and number 8. Because I remember watching a webinar from Hormozy 5 years ago. And I remember being in a consultant call with this other guy. And I remember seeing a top performing headline from this other account from a different industry years and years ago. But you have so many different reference points in your head that you've developed taste on copywriting or on ad creation or whatever that skill is, such that you can direct the AI in the way that it needs to go. So like why learn it today? I guess it's like garbage in, garbage out. If you don't know what a top headline is, or you don't know what a top ad is, you will not be directing the AI in the correct way in a world where we don't actually execute. We just do QC. I'm going to pick the right 5, and someone who's junior might not pick the right 5 headlines, the right 5 ads for AI to go and create. And it all comes back to just a fundamental understanding of direct response.
Yeah, so in other words, like there are ways that you can use different sets of words to say the same thing that will like change somebody's view on something. Like if you, I don't know, like I have a friend who I tend to be pretty diplomatic when I disagree with somebody, and I have a friend who's not that. They always raise the stakes, and so like we could go in the same situation, and they're going to come out of that situation, that person, full volume, arguing, nothing's going to get solved. And I'll go in and like, we're both going to feel great at the ad. We're both, and like same situation, same scenario, but different choice of words, different intonation leads to different outcome. That to me is like, that's direct response copywriting. How do you do the diplomatic way that gets the thing that you need versus the arguing thing? In this case, somebody doesn't click on your stuff or buy your stuff. You're very good at this. There's this awesome, I want to get some like copywriting rules, but I thought this was pretty cool. I wanted to ask you about this. Sam Parr, who's a copywriter who we both admire a lot, in June of last year, I see this tweet go out, and he just says, "Flakes, newish standard shampoo brand. I'm getting so many ads on social from it. Yeah, you boys flaky. I've never seen such captivating ads. They tell a story and are very, very attention getting." How did you feel when you saw him tweet that? Because Flakes is your client, and those are your ads.
Yeah, that definitely got us a lot of discovery calls booked in. It was great to get a shout from Sam. I've put all of our team through his copywriting course, which I'm a very big proponent of. But yeah, it was very cool. We've had a couple of cool shouts like that. That was a direct one. We also had just the other day we had one of our clients get shouted out on Rogan. The perfect gene.
No way.
Yeah, he just like the best marketing ever. He just like starts talking about the perfect jeans and and literally starts selling it like it's an ad.
I started buying sweatpants that look like jeans.
What are those? Oh, they're called perfect jeans. Those are really good. I got a few pairs of those. I think that's what they're called, right? Perfect jeans.
And we saw this and we were like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. So yeah, it was super cool to have Sam shout us out, and he's definitely someone that I look up to when it comes to copy.
Yeah. You said something that's cool, I like, which is, so Joe shouts it out. It gets a bunch of attention. Joe's not paid to do that. He's doing it because he wanted to, right? It's organic, it's natural. So maybe we start with like one of your big rules, which is ugly ads. What are ugly ads, and why do ugly ads work?
Ugly ads are the concept of creating ads that feel like something that you see on the organic feed. What you notice, what I've noticed at least, is if you actually scroll the Instagram feed or the TikTok feed for 5 minutes and really like look at how that content is made, like what type of creators you find, what kind of lighting, like what's the audio like, what's the setup like, where, like what location, all these things that go into how things actually look on the organic feed. And then straight after that, you go and look at the last 50 ads that you've made, you will realize that there's a big difference between what we think are ugly ads and what is actually organic content that people actually produce. Because all we're trying to do with the ads that we create is blend in to stand out in the feed. People are making subconscious calculations as they're going through their feed, and they are looking for every reason to continue scrolling and not watch your ad. So if you can make something that feels like something that a piece of content your customer would actually create, then you have a better chance of getting their attention and keeping their attention. But what people think is ugly ads is not, because there's a big difference in how something is shot, especially how it's edited by editing teams at brands versus like how someone actually edits it on CapCut, or like someone actually edits it on their phone when they're putting out a piece of content on the organic feed. So that's all we're trying to emulate.
Yeah, I saw this. I'm pretty sure it was a post from you actually on like what would make a great ad that I think is like really indicative of what you're describing. Where I think it was Skims, and it's like a girl is in some Skims dress, and we'll show it on the edit, and her boyfriend comes in, and nobody even mentions the product. He's just like, "Oh my God, baby, you look so good." And the dog is running around on the bed, it's like chaotic, and he gets her to like spin around, and she looks so happy. And that to me is like extremely organic. I don't know if it was an ad or not, but clearly like what's the outcome that person is looking for when you go back to direct response copywriting, right? It's like, I feel beautiful, right? It's probably like one of the outcomes. You could talk about feeling beautiful. You could say it to the camera. But what about taking the person that they want to feel beautiful from, right? Their partner, their significant other, and showing that? You make that so real, so visceral, so vivid. Now somebody understands the outcome implicitly. That's what you're talking about. Is that fair?
Yeah, and I mean that was one of my favorite TikToks that I came across last year. It did 10 million views on Instagram, and it did another 20 mil on TikTok, or vice versa. And like, I think that was an ad for Skims. If it wasn't, then Skims just got an incredible piece of free promo. But if it was geniusly put together. And again, like I like thinking about things that are defensible against AI content. And I am very pro everyone making content with AI influencers and Claude to write the scripts, because I think that's the way the industry's going. However, there's absolutely something to be said for acknowledging that people are becoming more and more prone to AI content. And AI is very, very good at saying, hey, look at this Apple mouse. This is a really great mouse. You should go and try this mouse today. But like AI cannot, at least today, I don't think in the immediate future, go and recreate that organic piece of content that you spoke about, which is like just ways that we can signal to people on the other side of this video, hey, I'm not an AI. I'm a real person, and I am like authentically showing you how you will feel when you use this product. And I really feel like in a feed of AI slop, people are just craving content like that today.
So I have a little secret, which is that I'm not really a podcast host. My main thing is an agency. I started an agency called The Feed. We got to about $1 million of ARR in about 10 and a half months, which is very fast. The reason I did that is because I had a newsletter. Now, most people think of newsletters as like the Wall Street Journal or the Morning Brew, but I think the secret to newsletters is that they're basically just marketing emails that your readers actually want to open. And you can use them to promote events, courses, communities, coaching programs, SaaS, agencies, anything you want. And I was able to launch mine with no design skills, no writing skills, because of a platform called Beehive. Beehive is awesome. They made newsletters possible for marketing and basically all kinds of non-tech people like me. You can spam your newsletter, write your first edition, get your first subscribers, start selling ads within just a couple of hours. And you can try it for free. They literally do not charge you if you have under 2,500 subscribers, which is probably going to be most people listening to this. And so if you want to give it a shot, go to beehive.com or check the link out in the description. Let's get back to the episode. I like it. Dude, I feel like we've just entered like Alex Cooper copywriting masterclass is in session. Your first rule you just gave me is effectively show, don't tell, which you're a big proponent of. Yeah. What are the other Alex rules for copywriting and creative?
I think probably the most broadest, most broadly relevant rule that I see a lot of people mess up on paid social, but in general, is assume no one knows or cares about you. And I will say I got this from Barry, but it's such an easy thing to do in our ads, to have the assumption that like someone has heard of our brand before or like even remotely cares. But I try and put every script that we write through the kind of acid test of, if someone had no idea who I was and did not care at all who I was, is this still relevant to them? Is it instantly relevant and valuable to them? And does it still make sense in that context? I've seen people start ads with like, oh, well, you know, our best-selling peach cream. It's like, no, I don't. I don't know what that is and I don't care what it is. But like, or even just mentioning your name, your brand name in the first like few words. Like, I don't know or care. And it's such precious real estate, that first 3 seconds of the video, or those first few words of the headline, whatever that is, you've got to make it instantly relevant to me, hook me, get my attention, and say something that's going to make me want to read the rest of it, rather than saying like, you know, we just released our new product. Like, no, like, tell me about one of my pain points or one of my desired transformations and why I should listen to you. So like putting the whole headline or script through this acid test, especially the hook or that first few sentences, assuming no one knows or cares is one of the things that I see people mess up the most.
Yeah. Here's why I think this is important, by the way. So you're, for somebody who's like listening to this, you're talking about this in the context of ads, but I want to be super clear. Like, this principle is extremely useful to make money, to create a business in many contexts. We did a launch for my buddy Jesse, this guy Jesse Pooji, on a small email list that did something like $300,000 in like 2 weeks. And the email copywriting principles, we used examples not of him in the email of succeeding in business, because we were trying to get some people in like this accelerator to get coaching on business stuff. We used somebody who was a lot more like them, who like Jesse had worked with, because we felt they could see more of themselves in this person, Adrian, than in Jesse. But the idea is like still connect with the viewer. It's still a lot of what you're talking about, like make the offer compelling and good. And we add like risk reversal. Like if you don't make a certain amount of money, then you can get refunded on the program, all this stuff. Also, even when you talk about your cold email that you sent to get your first client, right? That was probably extremely offer first. Why does this matter for me? I got an email from somebody like 2 weeks ago to help me on my LinkedIn content. We're probably not going to work with them because I think we're fine there. But I will tell you, I messaged back because it was such a good email, rather than be like, hey, we do LinkedIn for brands like X, Y, and Z. I get generic emails like that. Media companies and agencies, fine. There's a million of people who say that. The way this email started was like, hey man, I saw your latest lead magnet post, got an engagement rate of X%, some low percent. That's a lot lower than what you typically have been posting. I think we could help you bring that up. And I go, dude, that is so specific to me. Now I believe that you could help me. And this is what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It's such a great principle to go by. I mean, even in content, like even in my Twitter and LinkedIn hooks, like I try to go through it with this philosophy. I mean, there's certain posts that I want to keep personal, but for example, I make a post about Claude Cowork the other day that's recently come out, and everyone's talking about it. Instead of me saying, you guys, if you've been following me for a while, know how much I love Claude Cowork, here are some tips on how to use it. Like I said, Claude Cowork can replace your entire ad research process. It's like, that is tight. It doesn't matter if you're, Nathan, my friend, or if you've never seen my content ever before, like that is going to be relevant to you. And you can see how that immediately benefits you instantly.
Yeah, I dig it. All right, Professor Cooper, next rule. What else?
What else? I mean, I'm a massive proponent of your customers, your copywriters. Not that that's anything like revolutionary, but like I'll give you an example of this. Well, first of all, let me explain it for people who don't know or care about the rule. Like just taking the idea of like, you actually don't need to write ad scripts. Like you really don't. If you research properly, your customers will literally tell you what to say. And like some of our best ads have literally taken the exact words and phrases that they use, taken it from the customer reviews, taken it from the ad comments, taken it from the post-purchase surveys, and just weaving that into our messaging on our ads, on our in our post-purchase flows, on the website, on the landing pages, just repeating the words that they tell us about the problem or about the desired transformation, because that's how they want to be spoke to. They don't want to be spoke to like it's a business or to a customer. They want to feel like you're one of them. And in an ideal world, you want to find the kind of insider phrases that make someone look at your copy and go, dang, like there's no way that these guys are not one of us. Like, how would they know about this thing if they're a business and like not one of us? So, and it could be in the little things. Like there are certain like golden nuggets that your customers will give you, and if you go deep into the customer reviews, you will find these. But even in like the little nuances, I was writing an ad script recently, and I was looking through the customer reviews, and I noticed that for this male-focused brand, like a lot of the female reviews were saying, like instead of my husband, they were saying hubby. Like hubby looks incredible. And like, that might sound like a little thing, but like you put that in the ad script and you stack that on top of like 3 or 4 another like micro examples of actual words and phrases that they use. And you read the ad script out and it starts to sound like one of those women has wrote the script. And it's just the little nuances in communication like that can add up to make someone feel, oh, this isn't a business talking to me. This is just one of my friends. This is someone else that I know, that I trust, talking to me instead. So just having the idea of like your customers being your copywriters, and if you spend enough time on research, you really shouldn't need to write too much because they will write it for you.
Yeah, I like it. The consumer is like the bouncer at the club, and they can smell BS really fast. But if you know the secret word, right? If you know stuff that they use, all right, cool, you're in. There's a brand we work with. It's like we don't do that much e-commerce, but it's a hair loss brand. And in the research that we were doing, we saw there was on Reddit. I don't think it was reviews. It might have been Reddit, but we saw all these women who start losing their hair talk about traveling to Turkey because it's cheaper to get a hair transplant out there. Yep. They do like medical travel, right? They go back because it's cheap, and then they've got all their hair and everything. And they kept using the word turkey transplant. It's like this phrase that women use in like the forums of Reddit when they're talking about, oh, do I spend money on searching all this stuff? And so we can use that in the ads and do a lower funnel ad, which, not to get too much of the minutiae, is like somebody who already knows about products, they're researching opportunities and solutions. And so there it could be useful to say why your thing is better than other mechanisms or types of solutions. And so we could go like, all right, you don't have to go spend $2,000 on a turkey transplant. We've got you covered for whatever, $60 a month, take our topical, whatever. And like, that's going to resonate with consumer. Like, just take what they've told you, just slice it right there in the ad.
That's it. It's just little things like that, like just sounds so much better to me as someone in that audience versus like, you don't have to go to Turkey to get the transplant. It's just little things. You stack a bunch of those into an ad script or into your funnel, and like it really does start to sound like you understand the customer. And like one of my favorite quotes around this is that the best copy doesn't feel like selling, it feels like understanding. And that's all like we're trying to do.
I dig it. I'm gonna share my screen quickly. I'd love to get your view on 1 or 2 ads that you guys have written and why they why they work.
Yeah.
So just as we are recording this, like basically 24 hours before this, Facebook made this huge change to their ad library where you can now see the ads in an account stacked, ranked by the number of impressions, which is like, you can see the ads that have been seen by the most people. So they're, arguably the ones that are going to be the most likely to be the winner. And so I found one. Let me see if I can do this.
I didn't know they actually shipped that. I thought that was a joke on Twitter.
So I'm on Flakes. I have sorted by impressions high to low. So this probably has some amount of high correlation with what's spending the most in the account. And here's an ad. Is this the one? Cool. So you might not be able to hear it, but like, so if your hair looks like this, or your beard looks like this, you don't have dry scalp, you have fungus on your face. That is an awesome hook. This is an amazing ad. Talk to me through this ad. Like, talk to me about this ad. Why does this work?
Could you just play through the visual again? The visual on the hook. Because we actually ran another version of this. That visual up the top there, that was the moneymaker. And like, I just love using when you can, like, grotesque visuals. Like, there's no way someone with that problem doesn't stop before I've even opened my mouth. There's no way that someone doesn't stop for that visual. And again, it's just telling them that, like, emphasizing the problem and really sitting in it. I think sometimes when I see ad scripts from strategists or brands, they're almost a little scared to, like, really dig the knife in and twist it when it comes to problem agitation. But the way that I think of it is, if you can make it relevant and sit in the problem for longer, do it. Because the way I think of it, like, when you're agitating a problem, you're almost like, it's like archery. You're pulling back the bow, like, further and further with more agitation. And if you can keep it relevant and then you let go, and like, if you've been agitating a lot, people really, really feel that pain point. And the way that you can do that is with analogies like this, is with emotive language. So a lot of people, and this goes back to the second point, your customers, your copywriters, a lot of people will just say surface level things in their ads and say, this thing gave me more energy, or this thing removed my dandruff, or this thing, smells really nice. And it's like, okay, great. Like, you can say that, but also every other brand in my feed are making those claims. But like, what about if you could find customer reviews that said, I remember this one that we ran for an acne treatment. I feel like everyone's staring at me, even if they aren't. It's like my skin is a sign saying I'm different. Like, again, how do we create those? How do we write those, that copy that makes someone feel understood and seen, like you're inside their head almost? So just thinking about, from a copywriter's perspective, how do you, like, relate to them on that level? And again, that goes back to doing the boring, unsexy stuff that no one wants to do, which is look through your ad comments, look through your customer reviews, look through your post-purchase surveys, look for those little golden nuggets, analogies. And when you start looking through these and you start putting them through GPT Claude or a Parker, you'll find that I'm not 100% sure if it came from a customer review, but like, I would be surprised if it wasn't mentioned or at least inspired by something that we found in our customer reviews. And it's just like, how do we find that language that goes a level deeper than the service level and like stands out in a feed of everyone else making the exact same claim? So I love this ad from a messaging perspective, but also the visual. I think the visual plays a big part in why this works. And like, not that we have to get into like the nitty gritty too much, but it's also in a barber shop. So like, the location makes sense. And it's an authority figure, which again, in a feed full of AI slop, how can we signal trust and authenticity? Real people who can speak on things authentically, like a barber, an esthetician, a food reviewer, whatever it is in your niche. What can signal, that's someone I can trust, and not just like a creator that you've paid to dress up as a barber.
Yeah. The reason I use this ad is, to me, this is a great representation of like all of your rules being used together. Once it's like an orchestra and there's a bunch of different instruments, and like we're isolating for a couple of the sounds right now, from like being in the barbershop to fungus on your face is a visceral, that double F, like in the copy. And then it creates what we would call like a curiosity gap, which is if somebody has that, what do you mean I have fungus on my face? It creates a question where, what is that? How do I solve that? I have fungus. And then they want to listen to more of the ad, to that visceral image at the very top, to, I think there's even another piece here. Maybe it's just those. Oh, to even the idea. So I don't know where the idea for this ad came from, but I remember talking with your co-founder, Ali, that the whole angle of like dandruff on your beard was an angle that largely you guys unlocked. So presumably that's coming from customers and copy and stuff. Like normally people are focused all up here, right? Because you're paying attention to the consumer. That's how you find out to even go this direction in the first place. What do you even apply the principles to? I think it's an awesome ad.
Yeah. And again, not to get into the nitty gritty, but especially on Meta, but this applies to all forms of copy. This is why you want to center your advertising around personas. Instead of thinking like what iterations or like what slight tweaks can we make to get, to basically build a faster horse. How do we build a car? And like you can build a car from looking at big unlocks, like big new use cases, new angles, new personas that you can target. And we found people start to say in the customer reviews, oh, actually, I'm using this for my beard as well. And then we go and test that inside the ad account. And then that becomes some of our top performing ads. So like, I think it's really easy to just look at what's working and try to do more of that. But also it's really important to do the unsexy stuff and look at what your customers are saying. And oftentimes there can be completely new avatars that you can unlock just by listening to how they're using your product.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, you guys are great at studying the customer, using the copywriting principles to make these ads. And like Flakes has worked with you guys for an extremely long time. So think about like a lot of people are worried about, getting new customers. One of the best ways to build a sustainable business is do great work so your customers stay with you forever and ever and ever. And then if you do good enough work, you get some amazing bonuses like you have, which is like Sam Parr sees those Flakes ads. He's like, dude, this is so good. I want to talk about this. People are compelled to share it because the work is so good. To me, like that account is such a good like thread on your whole philosophy in business and copywriting and like the outcomes of like focusing on having the best product in the market. I
actually think that you made sorry, I don't want to go into this next tab, but like I actually think you made an incredible point that I just want to highlight about creating curiosity and open loops. And open loops, honestly, is an episode that we can do in itself, but just like the art of creating that, like planting that seed in someone's head, like, oh wait, do I have fungus on my face? And giving them almost like an itch they feel needs to be scratched. Like that's how you retain someone. This is like, Mr. Beast 101 on YouTube, like creating in your hook, whether that be your the first words in your headline, or that be the hook in your video, creating something that makes them go like, wait, what? Like, do I? And then I have to watch to see what you're saying. If you don't close that loop for another like 20, 30 seconds, you've got me hooked and I'm not going to scroll away.
Yeah, I dig it. I want to do one more ad. This one. Tell me, this is another top impression one on the perfect jean. Why does this ad work? Oh, there's no closed captioning. The hook is it possible to have jeans that look like denim but feel like sweatpants?
Yeah.
How do you think about this one?
The reason that I love this is similes and metaphors, like any sorts of analogy, are great to sell people on new products. Because like what we're advertising here, if we step back and think about it, we are advertising comfy jeans, actually functional jeans. People don't usually buy jeans for function. They buy them for style. So we're trying to get them to adopt a new habit or a new way of thinking around how they wear jeans. So how do you do that? Well, instead of trying to convince them about why our new way is better, why don't we just associate it with something they already enjoy, something they already resonate with, they already like? And that's why I love just the idea of saying feel like sweatpants, which again came from customer reviews, because you're associating with something people already say it's comfortable. Like they know that their sweatpants are comfortable. They like their sweatpants. And if you're saying jeans that feel like sweatpants, they go, oh, I can associate that with good feelings, comfort, and like, oh, then the jeans are as well. So yeah, I think that's a really definitely a hook that I like here. The other thing that I'll say here about this ad, which I'm sure people can go check out in the ad library if they want to see the whole thing, is I really think that people overcomplicate paid social creative and try and do all these different types of things with their ads. If you look at some of the top brands, if you look at the Dr. Squatches, the Lumis of the world, and look at their ad creative, a good proportion of their ads are literally just great direct response script, very good B-roll visuals, and an AI voiceover. And like, they don't obsess over formats. They care about message. They care about testing different messages. They care about great direct response script writing. And that's what we've tried to emulate here. We've tried to get a combination of great visuals in. This visual gets my attention. It's a in-shape guy wearing the jeans. And you can see here throughout the video, we've got a lot of cuts to different scroll stopping visuals. It's a good direct response script with a voiceover. And sometimes I think people get lost trying to test a bunch of different formats. But honestly, it's the messaging that we should be caring about more.
Yeah, this ad here is, so we could go watch this after, we'll put it up, but it is AI narrated. It's an AI voice, right? They have a bunch of B-roll and then there's copy on top in it where it's exactly what you're describing. And it's one of the, ostensibly one of the top spenders in the account.
Yeah. Again,
Very cool.
This is why it all comes back to copywriting. It all comes back to direct response principles. Like just great direct response scripts with good visuals can go a long, long way on Meta.
Yeah. So you have a SaaS coming out. It'll be out by the time that this goes live, called Parker. And I want to hear how the idea came about. But my understanding is like you basically wrote a manifesto. There's like 27 documents that you've come up with that are like everything that you have ever learned about copy and creative, and you have trained AI on that manifesto, and you plug into all the research stuff you're talking about, watching TikTok and Reddit and reading the comments. You sync up with all this stuff for any brand, and like everything that you have described can just happen automatically via this tool. And it writes your copy, and it's as good as your best creative strategist. How did I do? Is that a good pitch?
That is a very good pitch, actually. You did a great job. We have spent the last 12 to 18 months building what we call context documents, and basically a whole SOP library of everything that I believe to be true about copywriting, about ad creative, about direct response. And we've injected this into Parker. So on top of what he normally does, which is like basically think of Parker as chat to all your data sources as a creative strategist. So chat to your ad account, chat to your customer reviews, ad comments, Reddit, competitors, all in one place. And then on top of that, we've layered these context documents, which is like almost a Bible of everything that we believe to be true about making direct response ads. So he not only is able to reference your brand context and your ad account data, but also is trained on thousands of winning ads and what works and what doesn't from a direct response perspective. It is like having a Claude project that now I'm seeing many people have for their brand. They have script writers and static headlines. It's like having one of those on steroids because he has so much more context and already knows your customer reviews, your ad comments, what's happening on Reddit, TikTok, etc. So yeah, that's how I would describe Parker.
That's dope, dude. I remember you did so you did like a cohorted course that you were very kind to let my team go through. That was incredible. That course did super well, by the way. I don't know if you're allowed or want to share, but I heard it was something like $500,000, right? Is that in the right neighborhood?
Yeah, you'd be correct to say that. It's funny. Me and the guy who ran it, my friend Jimmy, who's now the co-founder at Parker, we pitched it on a webinar in like May, I think. It was on a motion webinar. We pitched it and like it tanked. Like the first time we pitched it, we got like one sale in 3 days. And I literally texted him saying like, he texted me saying, should we take it down and just not offer the course? And I was like, no, let's just leave it out for a few more days. And then the week after, we did the social push and it just goes crazy. Like we thought we'd get 20 or 30 people in it, ends up having 300 brands inside there. There were like 600 students. And it did just north of $500,000. And I from the previous week where we did like 1.5K in 3 days after pitching on a webinar with 2,500 people, it was some turnaround. But yeah, basically it was an 8-week live course, and it was teaching people how to build Claude projects. And we've taken that exact same process and just turned it into a SaaS where you don't have to spend the time compiling all of your context documents and listing out all your SOPs, but it just does it all in one place for you. But yeah, it's funny because that course was very close to not existing.
Dude, the reason I wanted to have you on this thing now is like, you've been like this, and I think you're about to be like this, and we're going to get you just before you're fully angled up on the revenue side. And it's cool to see. So if we unpack like why did all this work? You're like I was like a 10-year overnight success in my view, which is you did the work, right, in AdCrate. Like this is all just stuff you learned making creative and leaning into AI fast in AdCrate. And then you're like, hey, well, could we teach it? You made this training really as a teaching thing for your own team. They're like, what if we just open it up? $500,000. Now, I didn't know this, so you didn't make any sales on the webinar. This is a total guess on my side. But like your Twitter and your LinkedIn, you've built up such brand equity doing the things that you talked about 20 or 30 minutes ago, which is what if I'm just the AI ads creative guy? That's all I focus on. And the timing has also been wonderful, right? But you've been posting about creative since whatever, 2021, 2022, like you've been in the game for a second. And it's all come together where you had the trust on the very specific topic. You had the teaching, and you got the teaching because you did that with your team, and you productize it, you sell it, you give it to other people to take the course. And they're like, well, we have all these documents and we have all this codification now. What's the next layer? How do we translate that into SaaS? And it's this beautiful, I don't know, sort of 3-act play, I think, in your life as a founder. What do you want? So I imagine, well, we just start with the more surface level stuff. Like, I'm sure there's some number you have in your head. You're about to do this launch. Like, if we hit this, it's going to be this is an amazing starting point. I think we can do this. What's that number in your head?
I don't have a number per se. I mean, I've kind of come to terms with the fact that, like, Jimmy has a number.
Yeah,
Jimmy. I mean, I know Jimmy has a number. I very much am a subscriber to the philosophy of stoicism, and like, okay, I'll get back to the question in a second, but I do think when I was 18, 19, I was in corporate, to take it back to the start of the conversation, I would listen to, like, while I'm working, I listen to a book like all the time, and I get through like 2 or 3 books a week. Not that I learned much from it, but like I did pick up stoicism from it, and it's just something that was baked into me from a very early age. Like, kind of the idea of, if it's out of my control, then I'm not going to worry about it. And by the time this comes out, people will know how the launch went. You're right. 10 years of my life have been culminating to what's going to happen on Tuesday. But if it completely if it completely tanks, like that's outside of my control. We've done everything that we can do, and like, tab for mean, tauk for mean, the stoic quote that I live by. What is up to us? What is not up to us? We can literally only control our controllables, and outside of that, it's not up to us. So it may go incredibly well. It may absolutely tank. But if it tanks, then you know what? Yeah, it's a cool story. I can tell the boys that. It's just, I just control what's in my controllables. I put my heart and soul into everything that I do, and from there, it's not up to me how the public perceive my work, and that's not for me to worry about either. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. I mean, I know Jimmy has a number. It would be nice. It would be nice to make 10 mil. With that being said, But I'm completely content if it completely tanks on Tuesday, then so be it. It would be a cool story. But again, I've told the team internally, like, this is just the start line. Like, we've been sprinting towards this for a year, and everyone thinks this is the finish line. But honestly, what I imagine will happen, and is already happening by the time this is coming out, is the launch will do pretty well, and people start to copy us, and then it's just the start line. And then the games begin. So we'll see.
Why do you, what do you want? So you're pretty patient with results and unimpacted by results. So then if not money, like, why do this? And people have told me all different, Justin Welsh, for instance, like, he has a lot of money, he is so afraid that it will all somehow disappear tomorrow. And he runs these calculations in Excel and stuff, and his wife thinks he's crazy. He thinks it's going to disappear. Another one of my buddies, sold a company, incredibly successful, doesn't have the best relationship with dad. And if you really talk to him, it's all about like, I think if I do this next bigger thing, I think, my dad, like that kind of thing. Why? My other friend, Jesse Puggi, wants to be a billionaire. What do you want? Why are you doing this?
Well, I mean, I have a couple of answers to this. First of all, I do think I operate, like, at least I maybe operate from less of a position of this now, but like, I definitely had a chip on my shoulder when I was coming up. Because I mean, that bad breakup that I went through, that really put a chip on my shoulder and made me lock in and wanted to honestly prove to her like why she messed up. And like, that fueled me for a good few years, dude. Honestly, it was just still funny to think back and look back at. But like, nowadays, honestly, the reason that I do it is, and again, I know this is cliche, but I will like give an example of this in a second. I don't want material things. I just want experiences. I would much rather, pay for one of my team to upgrade to first class their first time ever than like buy anything, like buy like a Rolex or something. Like, I just want to do cool things with cool people. At the start of this month, we flew our entire team out to Thailand. Like, I've seldom seen many agencies do like full team retreats, like at our scale, like getting 35 people out there. We spent comfortably over $100,000 on that retreat. And like, honestly, at our level of revenue, from a business perspective, it's probably not the smartest thing to do to spend that much on a company retreat. But I mean, the value of me being on a yacht with my team in Thailand, and us all just messing around and like dancing together, and like, I'll remember that in 50 years time, way more than any EBITDA that I make when I'm 27 years old. So I just want to do cool things with cool people. I want to spend money on experiences, and I just want to enjoy life. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I over-index on work sometimes because I'm just into the game, and like you said, I'm a fish in water, and this is the only thing that I know. It's the only thing I've known since 16 years old. But ultimately, I just want to do things for other people and experience the world.
Yeah, I love that. It's a very Sam Parr has a similar thing. Like, he started the hustle in a way because of a girl in like high school, and like wants to prove everybody wrong. And I think now he's more in like how to create legacy? How do I bring people together? How do I have experiences? You guys are, I think, very mirrored in that way. I think that's beautiful. You went to Thailand. I don't know if it was now or another time. You got kidnapped in Thailand.
Dude,
tell me about that.
How did you know this? Yeah, I used to be a wild boy. Back in the day, I would with the little money I did have, I would get off on holidays with the boys sometimes, and yeah, I didn't have a good night. I ashamed to admit now I was drunk and high in Bangkok. And have you ever been to Bangkok?
I've been there. Yeah, and I've been drinking high there too.
You know what it's like when someone offers to go to a lady boy show?
Oh yeah, I do.
So yeah, this guy shows me this like sheet of all the different shows. It's vulgar, some of the things that were on that sheet. But I was drunk and high, so I found it hilarious. I was like, we'll go to that. And we were out of it. And then before you know, we were in the back of some guy's car, like driving out of Bangkok. And I was there with my two friends. I remember turning to them and like, because it was starting to wear off, like the alcohol and the drugs. And I remember turning to them and I look at my map and I go, guys, like, we're not in Bangkok anymore. Like, we were out of the city in rural Bangkok, and driving at like 90 miles an hour on this highway. And I say to the driver, like, dude, can you please let us out? And he just wasn't, he was ignoring us flat out. He said, dude, please let us out right now. And then after 5 minutes, he's not letting us out. He's not letting us out. My friend literally starts opening and closing the door on the highway. We're going 90 miles an hour. And like, this is, suddenly I'm thinking like, oh crap, like this could be how it ends. And he doesn't say anything. All we can hear is he's on his phone and he keeps saying to the people on the other side of the phone, he keeps saying, London guys, London guys, London guys. Okay. So we're like, we could be in a lot of trouble. So we all start banging the doors. We start shouting at this guy. Eventually he has to come to a stop. We stopped just short of where he was going to drop us off. And like, we saw the guys that coming to run towards us, and then we just run off and then hide somewhere and eventually get an Uber home. But like, we were that close to go into where we were going to go. And I don't know if anything would happen. Maybe he would just like ask for a ransom or something. But yeah, it was not a good spot to be. So yeah, I mean, it was a cool story. Had fun on my travels to Bangkok, but I don't know if I'd do it again.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. I have never been. I feel like we never got in the cars for that stuff, but I could totally see that happen. That's ridiculous, dude. Are you still in touch with the guys who were on the ransom trip with you at all?
Oh yeah, they're still good friends of mine.
Yeah. Not the
we still look back on it with somewhat fond memories.
That's cool, dude. Maybe one last question for you. I want to know, like, who do you admire, man? I mean, so early in the days, maybe it was Iman and the guy we were talking about earlier and Gary Vee and stuff. But like, now, like, who do you look up to and why?
I don't know how useful my answer will be to people listening to this here, but honestly, I mean, I probably, if you don't want me to go into religion, I don't have to, but like I have guys in church.
Get it.
Guys in church who I look up to, and I just look up to people who are like servants, like husbands who are servants of their families. There's a couple of older guys in church who are so wise, and they're just incredible leaders for their family. And like, in my next phase of my life, that's all I want to be. I want to be a husband and a dad, and just be like a stable provider for my future family. So I don't necessarily have too many business inspirations, but
what about so on religion? Let's say whether somebody's religious or not, what are the biggest principles, the biggest things that have made you better, happier, a better person from religion that everyone should be thinking about these?
The reason that I became religious was not because anything that anyone said to me, but more so how I would see people who are religious act, and like the way in which that they would love me, and like they would reflect like light onto me, and what they have, like Jimmy is a great example of this. My co-founder Jimmy, he is a great family man who leads his family. He works out. He's successful in business. He has a wife, and he has a kid, another kid on the way next week. And he just so incredibly wholesome. Never criticizes anyone. Is always positive. And I would look at him and I'd go, man, like I'd like some of that in my life. Like, what am I missing that he's got? And it was God. Like for me, that's like what I've been craving, and just the way that, when I read the Bible, or when I pray in the mornings before my work, it just softens my heart and makes me want to love everyone that I interact with. I ask myself every morning, how can I serve my team better? How can I serve my girlfriend better? And just operating from that perspective I don't see how, I don't see that doesn't make anyone a better person. Just even if you're not religious, just ask yourself that question every morning. Like, how can I serve my partner? How can I serve my team? How can I love them in the best way that I possibly can? And for me, that's through like my connection with God. But for other people, it just could be as simple as asking that question every single morning, because it's definitely made me a much better and all around person.
Yeah. I was listening to this this interview last night with have you seen it, Alex Ramosi and
Tony
gosh,
Robbins?
who's the who?
Tony Robbins, the one that everyone's talking about at the moment.
Yeah. And dude, I was like tearing up last night in the office. You said something just now that made me think of that, which is Alex in a lot of ways has been living for work and only for work. And he's unhappy. And Tony totally coaches him through that moment. And a big takeaway of Tony that reminded me of what you said is Tony is a huge giver. He I think has helped like over like 100 million families like eat basically. And it was because like when he was young, somebody gave that to him, somebody helped him out with food, and it taught him that strangers could be giving, and it made him to want to be giving to strangers. And I'm hearing that in what you're saying. Like you saw people be kind, do active service because they were religious, and that's how you found religion. Like I want to be like that. I've seen that. I've felt that. I want to embody that. And I think that's it's a really beautiful place to operate from.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I couldn't agree more. Just like the ability to like use what you've been blessed with by God to provide for other people, to serve other people, and to just like make the world a better place. And that sounds very wishy-washy, but if we all ask ourselves that question every single day, I think that would go a long way. So that's all I try and do: serve my team, serve my family, my future family. So yeah, that's my real why.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate you doing this. I admire you for your copywriting. I think you're an incredible guy. You have an incredible story, and I appreciate you doing this, man.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, peace. All right, that's the pod. Boom.